Have you ever run across an acronym, a series of letters like FBI or VIP, but you had no idea what it meant? I'm Robert Stutz, and here's something to think about. Acronyms are so interesting, and they can really catch on real fast, and I find myself sometimes looking at one and realizing several people are using that acronym, and I have no idea what it means. One that used to throw me for the loop was what I saw was YOLO. Well, I'd see people put YOLO, and I said, what on earth is that? Then I realized it was an acronym, YOLO, YOLO. But I still had a hard time remembering what it meant, and finally it dawned on me. You only live once. YOLO. So that's something somebody puts when they're doing something maybe a little outrageous or a little unusual. Well, you only live once. One that I see a lot nowadays, and I finally learned what it meant, was IYKYK. It looked like IYKYK. IYKYK. What on earth is IYKYK? That one we see a lot on social media, and it means if you know, you know. If you know, you know. That's when you're saying something that not everybody's going to catch, and you kind of add that on there. If you know, you know. One I really like that I learned a long time ago was YMMV. What on earth does that mean? Do you know that one? YMMV, your mileage might vary. What that is used when you're sharing an experience and you're really telling people, this may not work for you, your experience may be different. And it goes back to the idea of the miles per gallon on cars, when they would always say, well, here's the miles per gallon, but your mileage might vary. In other words, your experience might not be the same as mine. I kind of like the YMMV approach to life, by the way. Well, today I really want to talk about this new one that I hadn't heard until a few weeks ago, IRL. Have you heard of that? IRL. IRL refers to in real life, and it talks about any kind of experience that's really flesh and blood and not online. Since COVID and technology and work at home and artificial intelligence, a lot of our experience is virtual these days. And it finally seems like there might be a little post-COVID backlash to that. And one of the signs is that movie theaters are experiencing a bounce back. After many years of declining attendance because people would just stream and watch things online, people are rediscovering, hey, it's different to go to a movie with somebody, to do it IRL, in real life. I'm hoping and praying that this is a thing that will continue in our culture and will also be a blessing to churches, which have always emphasized the importance of doing things in real life. But sometimes we get a little sloppy, and we know that there are lots of people in our culture that get their religious content online, just finding music or talks that they like, but they miss out on the experience of a church family. I want to remind you that this leads into an event that's coming up this Sunday. It's a presentation of a program called, I'm calling it The Power of the Mingle. And you're invited to join us on Sunday at 5 o'clock. We're going to be watching that about 1 hour, very entertaining, very enjoyable video that it's not really religious in nature, but it's talking about the power of how mingling and getting outside of our box can really help in dealing with some of the divisions in our society. It's touched my heart. I've watched it more than once, and I look forward to watching it with you. Now, when Pastor Robert scheduled this, he learned a long time ago that you don't schedule things on Sunday when there's a Super Bowl, but he wasn't thinking about the idea that Sunday is also the World Cup this year. So we're going to find a time in August where we can do this again in case you're a big soccer fan and you don't want to tear yourself away, or if this Sunday is not a particular day. I could easily send out the link and you could just sit it and watch it at home, but I think it'll be an enjoyable experience for us to watch it together and then react to talk about what we experience by watching it together, IRL, in real life. Pray for our church leaders as we look to all kind of IRL experiences that will help us to grow in our faith, grow in our outreach, grow in our mission, grow in our caring together as we live life together in real life. God bless.